If you're thinking of buying a power station for a specific use based on the quoted watt-hour capacity of the unit, there are some reductions and calculations you need to take into account first. Whilst there is certainly no intended deception in the declared watt-hour capacity of power stations by manufacturers, it's important to consider the cost of energy to convert and deliver those watts, the watts needed to power the unit itself, and the recommended percentage charge and discharge levels. Lithium iron phosphate battery cells typically have a nominal voltage of around 3.2 volts, a maximum voltage of around 3.65 volts, and a lower end voltage down to maybe 2.5 volts. According to Jackery, when a cell is at 3.2 volts, its state of charge is about 20%, and at 3.65 volts, the state of charge is at 100%. As consumers here in the UK, we typically want to draw power at 230, 12 or 5 volts, and so there has to be the capacity to increase or decrease the output voltage of the lithium batteries in the power station. Converting and delivering these voltages from the array of lithium iron phosphate cells in the power station battery requires energy to be used. In most of the reviews I've seen on power stations, it seems to be commonly accepted that if a power station delivers 80% or above of the watt hours available, then it is an efficient power station. However, these tests are typically conducted using an appliance with a wattage close to the limit of the power station, which means the test is over in a short time. When I conducted similar tests using my EcoFlow Delta 2 to power my desktop setup, the cost of running the power station for over 5 hours also impacted the available capacity. This is obviously down to the energy needed for the fan, the wireless and Bluetooth connections, the battery management system, and the energy cost of the inverter delivering 230 volts for 5 hours, which meant that on 2 tests I could only access 779 watt hours from the 1024 watt hour capacity. So this is 76% of the Delta 2's advertised capacity. In the tests, I ran the power station down to 0% capacity. However, the EcoFlow warning to recharge the Delta 2 appears when 20% of the capacity is remaining to protect the battery health. If I'd stopped at this 20% capacity, my 779 watt hours used would have been closer to 610 watt hours, which means that only around 60% of the advertised 1024 watt hours would be available to me. There is another energy cost if you charge the EcoFlow Delta 2 via the mains. It takes 1125 watt hours to go from 0 to 100% capacity, which is a cost of 101 watt hours per charge cycle. I ran the same test powering my desktop using a CTECI GT500 with an advertised capacity of 518 watt hours and managed to pull 396 watt hours or 76% of the advertised capacity. This was over more than 5 hours with the desktop on standby for some of the time. It cost 594 watt hours to charge the GT500 from 0 to 100%, so a cost of 76 watt hours, and on charge standby the unit drew 8 watt hours. So based on these 2 mini tests, I'll be buying future power stations on the assumption that the usable capacity is 60% of the advertised watt hour capacity. Interestingly, this almost doubles the assumed cost per watt hour of any power station purchased. It's all good.